Season 4, Episode 5 of Camp Cretaceous, The Long Game. The last time we left off, the campers had missed the plane. Again, another gorgeous shot. Something I seem to not be able to get over when it comes to the show. Ben and Darius bring back May, who is both sad and shocked that the plane left without them. Darius is trying to keep positive, and he says that, you know what, this isn't what we want. We all want to go home. But right now, the dinosaurs need our help. At times, this show really feels like some kind of video game, and these are the cutscenes. But I'm not complaining. Darius tells May that she can't protect the dinosaurs on her own anyway.
We have to stay until we fix this, however long it takes.
Bitch, excuse me? However long it takes? Speak for yourself, bro. I got a life to live. I got kids to have. Like, you're just gonna go ahead. You're gonna just straight go ahead and make that entire decision for every single one of us? Yaz resigns and agrees, even though we know that's not what she wants, and she's going through a lot right now. So they make a plan to go ahead and get Pierce back into the desert biome, the Kentrosaurus. While they're making the plans to go back and help Pierce, and also split up so some of them can make sure that the Brads have not tainted the food of the dinosaurs to make them aggressive, Sammy can intuit that Yaz is just done. As she said before, she's very tired. And I also know, Yaz, you must be stinking in that zip-up sweatsuit. Like, girl, you couldn't cut the neck? There's no other form of clothing around here? I figured in 6 months they would have tried to at least make their own clothing from out of something, because that cannot be comfortable. You're in the jungle, you're running, your boobs must be sweating, like... But anyway, Sammy's like, look, Yaz and I are actually beat, we're gonna go take a nap. And I thought that was really sweet of Sammy, because Yaz didn't want to say anything, she doesn't want to be the downer, and I would have been Yaz in this situation where I'm like, maybe I would have exploded and be like, okay, you know what? I need a minute. I need a freaking minute. For crying out loud, I'm not an action hero. We also have to remember that Yaz is like heavily introverted. She's probably an INFJ, which means that she likes structure and all of these different occurrences and events and happenings and overstimulation and no rest and no alone time is really starting to get to her, as it would get to me. As an INFP, I really, really, really need my alone time. If I am not allowed to go away and be by myself for copious amounts of time, which is like 98% me time and like 2% other people's time or other things, and then if I have no way out, I explode over time. That is basically what has happened to Yaz. The only difference is Yaz's personality thrives on structure, where personality types like mine are more adaptable as things go on. Can you imagine somebody who's used to routine and that is built into their instinct and personality, and then to have to deal with what she's dealing with? It must be doubly horrible. That's why you see that she is far more tired than someone like Sammy or Darius. Some people are equipped to deal with anything that is thrown at them or constant changes, but Yaz is not, and it's wearing her down, and I feel really horrible for her, especially given that she just unleashed that on her friends. I only guess that she's an INFJ because my mom is also that same type and they have almost the exact same personality, except Yaz is a lot nicer. And she'll also try to hide her pain to please others or make them comfortable. As the others leave to go and start the plan, understanding that Yaz needs some time to rest, and so does Sammy, Yaz thanks Sammy for intervening. Meanwhile, the programmer or the engineer named Cash is trying to get to the bottom of things. I really do love these robots though. Like, I love dog robot things or saber-tooth tiger looking robot things. And yes, I was wrong about the Westworld element of this, but it's clear that he did model them to be like prehistoric animals, and this is clearly a model of the Smilodon. He asked the robot where the other one is. He traced it to the last known location and doesn't know if it's down there. Everything Cash asks it, it keeps saying unknown. Cash is fed up with it and obviously has some anger management issues.
Ice thickness and water depth. Location of Brad is...
And this is why situations like the Matrix happen. Somewhere in the distant future, in this universe, robots are gonna rise up and start to harvest us. The others tried to calm down Pierce.
Scared. Yes. But you don't have to be scared.
Really? We're doing the whole Monsterverse thing? Okay. Yes. So she has a device just like the orca from the Monsterverse. Pretty sure that's a coincidence. To talk to Pierce and ask how he's feeling, while she also tries to calm him down. May has also raised Pierce from birth, so they are very close and have a bond. He is basically a member of her herd, and she a member of his. since we don't see any other Kentrosaurs around. It strikes me as odd, but it seems as though the dinosaurs, specifically the herbivores of this island, are very lonely. While at least the predators are able to have some form of interactions with others of their kind. Throughout the rest of the episodes, Ben kind of feels a certain way, like, I don't need a device to talk to Bumpy. Bumpy and I understand each other from the heart, which gets very annoying very fast. But I do like that they keep that element of Ben real. Of course, even as awesome as Ben is and how much he's matured, you can still see parts of him that are not perfect, and there are a lot of elements about him that are very immature and close-minded. That makes him a real person. Pretty sure if we hung out with Ben long enough, no matter how good of friends we were, he would do shit to annoy us, and we would do shit to annoy him. Here we get a bedroom scene with Sammy and Yaz. Yaz admits that she doesn't remember how to fall asleep, and Sammy helps her with that, and tells her, just remember the things that made you feel all warm and gushy inside. I can say that actually works. When I'm about to fall asleep, I always imagine that I'm going to a specific land to have an adventure. And most times, when I set up a scenario for myself to go to sleep, for example, I'll get my partner involved too, we're about to go to this island in the sky. It's a piece of the moon that's lying in between our dimensions. And if you find it, even though you're technically on Earth, gravity operates like it does on the moon. And there's these weird squiggly ribbon dragon things that if they touch you, you can fly. And our job is to save their babies that are trapped in some kind of cloud or something like that. I know, I told you I'm weird. But thinking about the different worlds that I can travel to in my dreams makes me fall asleep. And a lot of the time, I actually dream those. Just so amazing. All the other times, I just fall asleep listening to creepypasta or some other story that allows my mind to be taken on an adventure. Real quick, who in the comments listens to creepypasta and you start a story and every night you replay that same story because you fall asleep 5 minutes in? Mr. Creep's voice will do that to you. Well, Sammy's advice worked and they fall asleep. Kenji and Brooklyn remove all of those antagonistic supplements. The dark gray bluish dinosaur, T-rex, comes back. Now this was freaking confusing because apparently the one that I thought was the baby is actually the mom, and I had to go back and look because I'm like, okay, they said that the mother feeds the baby first or lets her eat first. But then they say that same one that was getting fed is the mother.
Whatever you do not go down there.
Never got a follow-up for that, by the way, unless that's the way to the thing that was revealed later on, which there's no tie to that, so that was kind of weird. But anyway, here is a scene with the T-Rexes. Look carefully. The one on the left is the brown T-Rex. The one on the right is the blue T-Rex. I'm only saying blue because it looks like a shade of navy blue to me. Or dark gray, whatever. That one just clearly fed the one on the right, which is the darker T-Rex, the bluish T-Rex. Everybody else saw that, right? Now watch again. The one on the left, the brown T-Rex, gave that other little T-Rex, or the blue T-Rex, food. And then lets that T-Rex eat first.
Always lets little Edie eat first.
You see? That was clearly a mistake that the showrunners made. Because then later...
Little Edie's still hurt. I thought May sent the brats to help her. Look at her trying to help her baby.
Excuse-me, is that not the blue T-Rex who was being fed first? And the brown T-Rex on the ground was the mother who was feeding her first? But now apparently, the blue T-Rex who's supposed to be the baby is now taking care of the baby, which is the brown T-Rex who's supposed to be the mommy? Can y'all keep some consistency here? It's very clear to tell the dinosaurs apart. So when you tell us that little Edie is fed by her mom first, and we see the brown T-Rex feeding the blue T-Rex, we're gonna assume that because you just said that the blue T-Rex is the baby. But then now you have the character saying that the blue T-Rex is now the mommy and feeding the brown one that's on the freaking ground. Make up your mind. That part was just, I know it's probably a nitpick, but it is very annoying. To me, that's like a huge mistake, as the dinosaurs are the stars of the show. Well, the humans are, but we name them. So when you name the dinosaurs and you put an action to them, you have to stay consistent with what the dinosaurs look like. And I cannot be the only one who noticed that. I was like, really?
Such a kind of
Anyway, now that the dinosaurs have switched positions, apparently, now the blue one is apparently the mom and the brown one is the baby. And because they're injured, or the brown one, I'm gonna have to get my mind around this because now it's confusing the fuck out of me. The blue one is taking care of the brown one. Okay. I do like that they show blood on the dinosaurs. I always hate when they don't want to show blood on things. Like, they actually hurt each other. And to know how injured they are, you have to see them bleeding. Not just a little bruise or a scuff or a black mark. It's realistic, which is something I absolutely love. And I respect them for doing that. Unfortunately for the dinosaur, who is now little Edie, she's too injured to talk. Sorry, she's too injured to food. My brain is milk. In the desert biome, they return to Pierce, the place where he's comfortable. Darius tries to devise, because of course he loves dinosaurs and he wants to be able to talk to him too. But Pierce is like, I don't know you, bro. May comforts him and letting him know that it takes time. While Ben rubs salt in the wound by saying it took no time at all for him and Bumpy to hit it off. Like, Ben, read the room. Plus, I think it was easier for Ben because Bumpy was a baby. She was more impressionable. I would like to see Ben try to do that with an adult dinosaur. This next scene is very scary because remember, Yaz and Sammy are finally having some good rest. Something has to interrupt it. Sammy is awoken by the sounds of pitter-pattering and then stomping and some weird, ominous noises that she recognizes.
Search him.
Yaz and Sammy hide under the bed as the robot scans. This is also where they are introduced to Cash, sort of.
Toss the other rooms then.
I also like the attention to detail with the robots. Check this out. I love these guys. Look at the rust on the machine. Like, you can see the surface rust on the joints of the machine that make it so realistic. What attention to detail. I'm really impressed by that, seriously. This is May's cave, and the fact that this guy named Cash is waltzing around in it means he's trying to take her research, which he does find. He finds out the notes that she took on talking with the dinosaurs, which she didn't want him to know about just yet. May's with the others when Kenji and Brooklyn catch up to tell them that little Edie is still hurt. I love that though. Ben is still badass and Rambo. He was ready to bust their heads because I was scared too. They're just running up on them like that. Like, why would you run up on a dinosaur? But Ben just instinctively now is the kind of person that will throw a rock at your head if he doesn't know what you are. That was great. That's when they discovered that her orders were probably overwritten to send medical help to the other Tyrannosaurus Rex. Darius says that he didn't know that there was communication on the island. And she, as far as she knew, there wasn't communication on or off the island either. Or maybe that's because that's what she was told. So now they have to get to the bottom of this. May thinks it's her boss. And now she wants to go and confront him. Which, honestly, before anything ever happens, I'm thinking it's probably not a good idea. Meanwhile, Sammy is livid and meets up with the others. She's on a warpath. Because you see, that guy, Cash, is the same guy who blackmailed her family. And I can understand where Sammy is coming from because, you know, anyone who comes after me and mine, yeah, I'm gonna have a problem with them too. But the way she's going about it, especially in the situation where she's at a huge disadvantage and can be put in danger by this guy, knowing how dangerous he is, she's being stupid and impulsive. Her friends try to stop her, but since Pierce, the Kentrosaurus, is still amped up, they all get distracted by him and try to calm him down, and she leaves, and in the wide open desert, they just lose her. Don't know how that happens. I mean, Sammy's not that small. Meanwhile, May goes to confront Cash, and she's stalked by robots.
Whoa.
Yo, that was excellently done. The way the raptor was stalking through the leaves like that, dude, that was so fearsome. That is scary. You couldn't even see it till it was right up on you. He obviously did that to scare her. This is Cash, the person with the world's worst haircut, at least for his face shape. He tells her in this nonchalant, assholey way, they can't get to us because of my invisible force field with these drone things that electrocute them when they try. May is very mad at him, understandably, but this is where I kind of want to kick her in the head. I really like May. I like this character so much, I don't want anything bad to happen to her. But this is a lesson of how not to piss someone off. Knowing that you work for an evil organization or just finding out that you do when things are amiss, you should never ever approach someone like this, especially someone who has a bigger standing than you. This guy, as annoying as he is basically her boss. He has robots that can do his bidding. He can override them. They're on a remote island where she can't call out or talk to anyone. And this is how she deals with the situation.
You have no intention of making this island a research facility, do you?
But
I won't let you use my research for whatever sick plan you've got.
Ooh, no, 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 no. Girl, what are you doing? You never do that. You don't go and challenge someone. And here's the thing. She might not have expected someone like this that she doesn't respect to do anything about it, but he's still your boss. And you're on an island alone. She's very naive and very antagonistic, and this is not the way you do things. Okay, and then look at this next part. She makes it even worse by saying this.
You heard me. Stop all of this now, or I'll go over your head.
is that a threat? You could have made...
Don't underestimate people. Don't antagonize people who have the power to hurt you. Like, that is the worst thing she could have done. Even if she had the idea to go over his head, why on earth would you tell him that's what you're going to do, May? Play nice with him, because he's already got your shit anyway. And then later you get off the island safely and alive, and then you go over his head, which probably wouldn't have worked to begin with, but at least you wouldn't have the man right now trying to kill you, which try to kill her he does.
Thank you for your contributions to Manticore, Dr. Turner, but the company has decided to go in a different direction. Your services are no longer...
At least she was smart enough to get her ass out of there before he finished his speech. She was like, okay, I might have chosen the wrong telltale choice. Not like it matters, because all C's would have led to this anyway. The Camp Cretaceous kids tried to help her and to keep her safe by throwing rocks at the robots and taking off their heads. May teams up with Sammy and they try to make it out of the area. If you can go after the robots with enough speed, you can take off their heads before they're able to shoot you down with their little life-ending thingy. May charges one of them, but something awful happens. Something she doesn't see coming. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why you have to use tact when talking with people. Specifically, evil villain corporations or just companies in general. If everyone is watching, you make a big stink. If you're on an island alone with no communication, you're cut off from society, cut off from the media. Dude, you're already non-existent according to the public. Nobody knows you're there. Nobody will know what happened to you. It is so easy to just get rid of you and claim it was an accident. Don't piss off the person who can make that happen. That is ridiculously stupid. Luckily for May, she gets ripped to pieces, but she's still alive. The group of friends do everything they can to help her, all but losing their own lives. Sammy takes a risk. She heads off on the robot and uses it to kill the raptors. Or at least it should have killed the raptors. Very inconsistent. This part of the show annoys me because, like, it kills other people, but when you hit it point blank at the raptor, it doesn't. The only way I could explain away why the raptors are able to walk away from getting shot with this extension ray or whatever you call it, electric ball, is that they are identified life forms that are supposed to be here. So maybe the robot's programming tells it, even if it fires at them, to neutralize that little ray thing so it doesn't kill them. Maybe it just shocks them or shoots blanks. So the raptors survive. May is badly hurt and everyone's able to get away from those robots. They're gonna need a first aid kit, and this is where Ben comes in handy, because remember he was like a huge germaphobe before? He knew everything to know about keeping safe away from germs and injuries and stuff, so he is the best person to patch her up. Sammy apologizes because she put Dr. May in danger. She didn't listen to her friends, and she thinks she could have cost everyone their lives. But Yaz reassures her. For now, everyone is okay. Because the good thing is, if Sammy hadn't gone there pell-mell to try and go after Cash, they wouldn't have gone after her to try and save her and been able to save May. The good thing about all of this is because the raptors attacked May, Cash thinks she's dead and he's happy with this. At least for now, as far as he thinks she's out of the way. Plus, he still doesn't know about Darius and his friends. Cash calls his boss on the phone and tells him, couldn't be avoided. Sorry, but we had to take care of her. Ben is in the bushes, eavesdropping, and that's when he realizes, wait a minute, that guy has a phone. We can make calls off the island. Moving on to episode 6. Unfortunately, May isn't doing very well. They have to try to keep her safe while also dodging robots that are going after them. Brooke and Yaz follow a robot, and they go into a place that essentially has an army of these things. Since the robots are following orders, the girls assume that they must be going back to touch base with Cash. And they're right. He's back there raging as usual. The T-Rexes are still injured and Mama T-Rex is still trying to protect her baby, or her baby's trying to protect her. Like I said, we don't know exactly which is which. It would be kind of hilarious if we found out that these T-Rexes are not mama and daughter and are actually male and female, and you find them doing something weird and then later an egg is laid and they're like, oh, I guess we were wrong about that. But I really hope it's the mama and daughter thing, because we already saw the male and female dynamic and I've already read about that in the book. So I think it's covered on both mediums when it comes to the male and female T-Rex. This is the very sad part and where things get dark. Mother T-Rex sees one of the robots approach her. I was actually expecting that she was gonna attack it. I don't know if Cash designed these things to attack the dinosaurs so they know not to attack them. I don't think that's the case, because I'm pretty sure if the dinosaurs got attacked by these robots, they would get very antsy every time they saw them. But all that happens is Mama T-Rex seems very curious. Then drones come out of nowhere and engage. This part is so sad because it kind of reminds me of that scene from Spirit. Just take a look at what we're seeing. The drones come along and issue the Mother T-Rex away from her baby who was hurt. They basically lasso her and lead her away while her injured loved one is lying there on the ground, calling after her. Remember, those drones create some kind of mesh or invisible mesh, so if the dinosaurs try to get out, they get electrified, kind of like an invisible fence. Now, did you see that scene of the injured T-Rex lying down on the ground, very sad as her mother was being drawn away, unable to help her and calling out to her? Take a look at the scene from Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron, one of my favorite movies, because yes, it has horses.
Leave her there. She's not gonna make it.
That was such a sad scene, and it really reminded me of that. Well, the same thing happens here.
Fine. Like everything else, do it myself.
The whole plan is for Brooke and Yaz to get the phone from this guy. When he rages, the phone falls on the floor, and Brooke and Yaz come very close to getting it, but to no avail. While all this is happening, Ben treats May's wounds. Now, while Cash is a villain of this show, I honestly have to say that, yeah, he's a little bit weird and Pixar-y with how they wrote him, but there's an element of him that I do like, and I wonder what his story is. I actually appreciate his genius, but it also makes you know that if this person is able to just go wild, he's gonna be very destructive without any guidance. Why does he look like one of those stupid characters from those Grubhub dance things?
Perks. The deals that make you boogie.
I freaking despise those things. I really wish someone would shove a stick up their ass, put them at the top of a Christmas tree, and leave them there. Sorry. I think it's just the animation style, man. I don't know what it is about that. It triggers me. I don't know what it is. That whole predatory instinct thing. They look like characters that are made so people would want to punch their lights out and eat them afterwards. I need a moment. Anyway, he low-key looks like that. But in this part right here, it's very interesting because the way he walks up to the raptor, I gotta admit, that's kind of cool. You know, I feel like writing a POV of those raptors because I feel like there's another story there that's not being told. Like, why is it that those specific two raptors are always hanging around this guy's facility? Did he do something to one of their children or one of their friends? We've seen from Jurassic Park 3 that raptors are very vindictive, especially if you mess with their babies or mess with their families. It could be that they're trying to get back at this guy. Yaz and Brooklyn see this and admit that, yeah, it's a little bit much for them to take on by themselves when you got raptors, this guy, his robots, his drones. It's just a suicide mission. We soon find out why they were issuing the T-Rex away from the baby. Unfortunately, he is using the T-Rex and Pierce the Kentrosaurus for some sort of tests, and I already called what it was gonna be. It's a test to see them fight. Drones push them into each other and force them to do a Pokemon match. Ben comes in with one of the snow gliders and has a plan. He straps these, I'm guessing they're oxygen tanks, I'm not really sure, but they're flammable gas. And his idea is to smash into the warehouse Darius to distract Pierce. Meanwhile, Darius is gonna go in and get the phone. The friends floor it, exit the vehicle, and it crashes into the warehouse and blows up. The plan works. As Brad leaves, Darius takes his opportunity. Unfortunately, he has to also bypass the raptors that are still waiting there. Those raptors really don't like humans, and honestly, can you blame them? I'm pretty sure they've seen their friends get attacked or taken by this crazy guy. And even still, the way this guy is utilizing dinosaurs, he must be direct competition food-wise for these raptors. We all know realistically, Darius would not be able to outrun this raptor, but you know, it's this show. I just gotta keep thinking, land before time. Darius barely dodges the raptor, who creepily found out a way around the drones protecting the facility. As Darius passes through the force field from the drones, the raptor's like, okay, so we're gonna play this game. The way they made the raptor run after him, like, that felt so real. I like how the raptor didn't just stop in front of him and slow down and roar at him when it got him dead to rights. The only time they did that was when they were in a group and there were a lot of the friends together and the raptors were circling them because they were more than them than what they're used to. All the dinosaurs are fighting. Darius is able to find a way to draw the drones away from the dinosaurs before Pierce gets too hurt. However, they're holding their own. Darius steps on a platform and it thinks he's Cash, which is like, this guy is such a genius, Cash, but he does not have any security systems. He draws the drones away. But before he can do anything, a robot comes back that Cash sent back to his office, or this area, because he forgot his phone on the table. Darius needs that phone. They make the end of this episode a war that Darius has to fight in his mind and his heart against saving the dinosaurs from being killed or getting the phone from the robot so that his friends can get off the island. He sadly and with a heavy heart makes the decision to get the phone, which is the right decision in this case. Disabling the robot, he is able to get the phone that has a lot of good signal, and he makes a call. Somebody picks up, and Darius says hello. But before he can say anything else, someone grabs the phone out of his hand, and Darius comes face to face with Cash. Darius's older brother is on the phone, having heard Darius's voice, and he's like, he's alive. And he makes up his mind to go and find his brother. Remember, it's been 6 months since anybody has heard from these kids, and they probably sent people to go and search the island, maybe. But remember, they're no longer in Isla Nublar, so even if 6 months later they came and sent someone there, they're not there anymore. Anybody who wasn't located or who didn't evacuate are assumed to be dead. And there ends episode 6, Mission Critical. I love this episode, specifically the T-Rexes. There were some consistency issues with the episodes, but this is so enjoyable, I'm able to overlook that. I feel like the villain could be a little bit more toned down in his villainousness, but it is interesting to see someone who is not necessarily himself a threat, but his mind and what he can do is a threat. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.